All right. So, as of February 10th, 2017, which is the day of this recording, Steam has announced that they are changing from their Greenlight system to something called Steam Direct. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk briefly about what Greenlight is, what Direct is, and why Direct could potentially be the end of indie development. Thus, why I'm slightly angry about it. Alright, so Greenlight, in the way Greenlight worked was a developer would turn their Steam account, into a developer account at the price of $100. Now, this is a blanket thing. Now, this developer account is capable of uploading as many games as they'd like, because they've clearly broken into the industry that way. They've said, all right, I'm willing to pay $100, right, to change my thing over. So that gets rid of a bunch of people who would have just put up some BS game that's not worth anything, because now it's $100 down the drain. And from there, that's it. I mean, in terms of the cut that Steam takes for, as of revenue, that's something that isn't part of this issue. But for a small developer, let's say 5 people, no money, no official company, but they want to make a game, put it out there, see how it does, find some success. If they do, then this is what they're kickstarting their future career off of. $100 down the drain is not that much, right? For many people who work part-time jobs, that's a week or so's worth of pay, right? So that's fine. They might be willing to drop that in order to get their game noticed by the community. And then once it's on Greenlight, the way that works is that the community judges the game. They say, yes, this is something I want to see on Steam, or no, I don't want to see this on Steam. I want to see this on Steam. I think this is good. I trust these guys. They're going to make good quality games. They're going to give it support. I want to see this available on Steam, ready to download, which as a developer, I can't tell you what it's like. It's hard to explain what it's like when you go to put your game somewhere and you realize that people pretty much only get their games from launchers in this day and age. Look at Origin, Steam, the Epic Games launcher. You play your League of Legends from a launcher. Blizzard Games launcher. You don't really get an EXE anymore and put it on, at least not in the digital world. It doesn't work like that, right? So what this allowed people to do was take their game and say, yeah, for $100, I'm ready to become a developer, and I'm going to put my games up there. That sifts out a lot of the crap. However, Steam has decided that this isn't good enough, so they are moving to something called Steam Direct. And now, the way that Steam Direct works, contrary to Greenlight, is first off, there's 2 things. One, when the person, goes to become a developer to put their thing on, they have to go through a shitload of paperwork, right? They have to go through all kinds of things. They quote it here on their announcement. They call it digital paperwork, personal and company verification, tax documents, and similar things to the process of applying for a bank account. All right? That's all fine and dandy, but guess what? Half the developers don't fucking have that. I don't. And the next thing that they have is a recoupable application fee for each title. So this is no longer just a blanket price that covers your ability to be a developer. This is for every game you have to pay a certain amount. Now, previously it was $100 for $100, and then you get any game you want to put on there. Now it's, and they say here, anywhere from $100 to $5,000 US per title. Not overall, per title. Right? Now, as was mentioned to me by a friend, yeah, you know what? This could be a tiered system, depending on the type of studio you are, or the number of people you're working with, or whatever. That's all fine and dandy, and true, that could work. But you know what? My gut's telling me right now that that's not how this is going to work. How this is going to work is it's going to be one of those upper tier numbers, somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000 per title, in an attempt to further get rid of shitty indie games. The only thing is that this is kind of like the chemotherapy approach to getting rid of shitty indie games. You'll get rid of the shit. You'll also destroy the ability for good games to get through too. You'll kill the good cells, right? So the problem here is that, let's say you're a group of students or a group of hobbyists or people who are trying to make a game as part of a community. You don't have any money. You don't have an official company. You want to make a game, you want to put it up there, you want to see how it does and see if that's something that you can do for a living. Now there's $5,000 and a shitload of paperwork between you and getting that done. That's not okay. That breaks the point of indie development, right? Now you need to be able to put out $5,000 before you've made any money. And for first titles, right? I tend to hear the expression in the industry that it takes 3 before you get it right, and that doesn't even guarantee that you get it right on the third. So you put your first game out there, pay $5,000. Now you're $5,000 in the hole. That's not going to work. So what I'm asking now, the reason this could potentially spell the end for indie development, besides the things I've already stated, is that it just further, pushes them to be required to be more like a standard publishing situation, right? And I'm getting very sick of services, not just Steam, many other services doing this as well, where there's a lot more paywalls, there's a lot more paperwork, there's a lot more official shit. Right, which is fine, but it ruins the possibility for creativity, and it ruins the possibility for people with no money to do something. One of the reasons that I love YouTube still so far is that there at the base level there isn't anything it costs you to start. You can start and you can try and you can get going, right? And from there you'll see whether this thing is going to be successful or not. The problem with the original path, the way that things were in the past, is that it costs thousands of dollars to get anything to happen. So of course no one's going to do it. Only the people with a lot of money or the people who are willing to sell their souls to a publisher are going to get anything done. And the thing that cripples me about this concept is that Steam's just going, no guys, don't worry. This is going to be great. This is going to be the best thing ever for indie developers with lots of money. Like, no, I'm sorry, that's not okay. Skypire, we were thinking of putting Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief, which is in alpha right now, right? We were planning to have it done for April 2017, and we were literally just about to put this thing on Greenlight, Greenlight will no longer exist in a few weeks, by the way. They're going to totally get rid of it and replace it with this new system, to the point where they're offering refunds to people who've paid that $100 to put their game on Greenlight in advance of putting their game there. So they're going, oh, the $100 you paid, we'll give you that back so you can pay us $5,000. Like, no. I really hope that in my scatterbrained and irritated state, my opinion has come through and you have a better understanding of what this is and what it means for indie development. Another thing that it does too that's not particularly great, and this was the same friend I was having a discussion with about this. This might be a good way to clear some of the crap off Steam, but for any indie heavy genre, it's toast. He's a virtual reality developer. He works with the Vive, right? Now already that's a incredibly expensive piece of equipment, not to mention you need the computers to run it. So if you're a small team of 5 people, that's 5 incredibly expensive computers plus an expensive Vive setup plus now potentially $5,000 if it's the worst case scenario on top of that. Now you're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars just to put your game out there to see if it'll make money. In my opinion, that's just wrong. So what I'm asking is if you empathize with me in this situation at all, or you are an indie dev, or you know anyone who's an indie dev, this is not going to help them in any capacity. This is not a better system for promoting creativity. This is a more restrictive system that helps them get rid of the crap that general people who don't appreciate indie devs or notice the work that they do or understand the situation they're in say, well, the Steam's full of crap games, but you know what? At some point, the responsibility has to be placed on the person purchasing it. So that's my opinion on the topic, and hopefully, if you do empathize with me, you'll go out and you'll state that you're against it, or even if you're not against it, and I'm not necessarily against it as long as they do it correctly. Maybe there's a tiered system. Maybe they evaluate who you are before they before they charge you a certain rate. Just in my gut, I don't feel that that's going to be the case. So let's try to make this system better, more open, more accepting, and more more strongly oriented around creative people and people being given a chance to do something instead of being hit with a paywall at the very beginning. All right, thank you very much.